My name is David Moseley, a State Extension Soybean Specialist in Louisiana. One of the projects that we have is a planting date study. Here I am working with researchers from the Rice Research Station, the Macon Ridge Research Station, and here at Dean Lee Research Station. One of the most important traits that we look for is yield. So what we try to find is the best maturity group and planting date to find the most optimum yield when you would plant and what maturity group you would plant. For this study this year, we have 3 different maturity groups. We have an early 4, a mid to late 4, and a 5. So we plant 4 varieties for each group over different planting dates. We have an early planting date, kind of a more optimum planting date, and a late planting date. So we want to see first what is most optimum if you can plant when you choose, but also to see if we can plant earlier than what's thought as most optimum, and if that early date can compete in yield with the more thought optimum date. But also for double cropping and for years like this year when you just can't get into the field to plant and you have to plant late, we want to see what maturity group would be best to plant in those situations. Besides yield, we want to look at protein and oil data. So we want to see how stable the protein and oil content is here in Louisiana, so we can look at different maturity groups planted at different planting dates. And we're able to compare the data to 3 varieties that we have that have historical protein and oil data from multiple states. As well, Dr. Paget is looking at fungicide versus no fungicide application to see how effective spraying a fungicide will be here at Dean Lee, and we're looking at the different planting dates to see at what time the plants are developing at different times and if the fungicide is more effective for different planting dates. And in addition to those objectives, we're trying to study the timing and duration of different vegetative stages and reproductive stages as you plant different maturity groups at different planting dates. I would like to thank the Louisiana Soybean and Grain Research and Promotion Board for funding this research. So when comparing the plants, but comparing the different maturity groups, the earliest one, the 4.3, has begun to shut down on July 9th. And we think about the dates that began filling the pods when the seed began to grow was about mid-May. So the seed was growing from around mid-May and shutting down now in early to mid-July. The 4.6 was a little bit later. It started developing the seed kind of late May and into June. And the 5.6 started developing the seed in mid-June. So about 2 weeks later, it can make a difference as the environment changes from late May into June, and now going into July, the environment can change, which can change the yield potential between the different maturity groups. When comparing the development between planting dates, one thing we like to see is to have more vegetative growth and for the growth rate to be faster. One thing that was noticed is for the March 22nd planting date, when the temperatures were very cold, it took more days to reach the 3rd trifoliate vegetative stage. And when the plants from that planting date reached the R4 stage, or when the pods were developed and is going to soon develop seed, the canopy coverage was less. So the cold temperatures really stunted the growth, had less vegetative growth, and that can lead to more difficult weed control and possibly less yield as you have less vegetative material to produce the carbohydrates they need through photosynthesis.